All right, are we live? I know we're a couple of minutes early here, so if you guys are out there, I got the chat on. You can start chatting. Just say a quick hello. I've got a lot of questions here, which I love. Pages and pages of questions. So I'm going to go through these things live, obviously. We're also going to go through on my screen, so I'm going to read them off the screen. I just want to let you guys know, we received probably enough questions to do 7 webinars. Okay, now here's the good news. A lot of the questions are very similar. Not a lot of them, but there's a lot of repeat questions, right, by multiple people. So that's the good thing. So don't feel like you're not going to get your question answered. So you're in good hands here. Okay, let's wait a couple of more minutes here before we get going. And let's see here. Rob, you got me? You live? Just want to make sure you guys have audio. It's 2 o'clock. I'll give everyone a couple of minutes just in case you're setting up, you're clicking the buttons on the screen. You can see I've got my headphones in here and my microphone. If I do this, it gets a little loud, so I'm going to try not to do that, all right? I'm going to keep it at a distance, but that's obviously my mic right there, so everyone can hear me here. All right. Should we start? Give one more minute. I'll give everyone one more minute. I'll give everyone one more minute. Now, we have a ton of new members on this chat right here. Hang on a sec. Let me shut off my auto updates so that doesn't block me out. Start or press the play button. All right. Okay. All right. I'm getting some channels. Miami, Florida is in the house. All right. I like it. How's the weather in Miami? We can talk about that before we start, because the weather here, it's raining. It's not that cool. I don't love it. I'd rather be in Miami right now. Let me shut this down real quick. All right, I think everyone's on. And I know I've got a lot of shy people that don't want to chat out there. That's why I do this, where I make you send in your questions, and then beautiful. All right, good. And then everyone just kind of, focuses on the questions that we have here. So this is really good. All right. I've got, I can see, I've got a ton of people on this webinar. So here's what I'm going to say. Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, geez, we're going to talk about North Carolina, right? I hope you guys are doing okay in North Carolina, because that was just bad, and what happened, what's going on. And someone, I don't know if that was you who mentioned, about what's going on with the real estate market there, but we're going to get into that as well. But I've got a ton of people on this webinar right now. If you get logged off for whatever reason, that happens. When I get lots of people on, it might crash. Just log back in. Okay, you have the login information, log back in, and you don't want to miss this stuff, guys, okay? For whatever reason, if something went wrong, we are recording this, so we're going to send you a link, an email. If you only have a limited time to listen to some of the stuff, don't worry about it. It's going to be about an hour. Now, for those that know me, I might go a little overboard, okay, because I like to speak, and I can't help it, especially when I've got so many questions that you guys have, all right? So if you know me, if you've met me live, or if when you get to meet me live, I love answering the questions, okay? So keep them coming every time we do these webinars. So let's begin. I've given everyone a couple of minutes. First thing I want to do real quick, no distraction, guys, okay? Focus, 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 all right? Get a pen and a paper. I love it when people write things down. I know you're going to get a copy of this, but when you're writing something down, I always say this, your brain just retains that information, okay? There's a direct correlation there from doing that. I always say that. Someone told me that years ago. I do it all the time, and it's like 3 times the knowledge kind of goes into your brain. All right, cool. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start off with the questions. Before we get going, I just want to say congratulations always, because I know there's so many things you can be doing with your time, and everyone here is investing in themselves. I can't tell you how much that means to me and how much it should really mean to you, because it is huge. The knowledge that you guys have here is huge. It can greatly impact your life, guys, financially and in many other positive ways, okay? So stay focused here, stay with me, and let's start cranking along. Now, I've got tons of questions. Let me pull up my screen, because I think it's better if I'm facing the screen versus facing my head down. And I'm going to start right out with, and these are no particular order, just questions that have coming in the last couple of days. But this is from Shannon first. And Shannon writes, do I need a separate LLC? I just want to call the company Spellman Homes. Thanks so much for everything. You've changed my life. Look, I haven't changed your life, first of all, Shannon. You're changing your life by being on this call and by doing what you're doing. So thank you, first of all. And let me get right to the question. You do not need a separate LLC if you already have, Spellman Homes LLC. Okay. When do you need a separate LLC? You need a separate LLC when you're flipping houses or doing rentals, not quick flips. And I know there's a lot of newbies on this call right now, but let's define what the quick flip program is. So the program that we're in right now, we're showing you how to wholesale properties, quick flip them. Okay, that's the spin that I have on it. I'm flipping them quick without even touching them. And wholesaling, as most of you know on the call, is basically putting a property under contract and then quick flipping that contract via a trust or many other documents and making that fee. Okay, so you're not doing any rehab work, you're not doing anything. If you were flipping a house, and I say if you were, when you will, because I understand, like myself, listen, I'm Peter from Flipping Boston, okay? I flipped tons of properties. And I still flip properties. I prefer to quick flip, but once in a while I cherry pick a property and I quick flip it. Or I cherry pick a property and I buy and hold it as a rental. And by the way, all of the efforts we do in quick flipping and rehabbing, the end game for us is to buy rental properties, passive income. So write that down. That's the end goal, okay? Now, when you start doing that, you do not want to have all your eggs in one basket, in one LLC. That's when it's dangerous because the LLC can give you protection. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm telling you how I've been consulted and what my attorneys have set up for me over the 20 years plus of doing this. Every time I flip a house, it's in a separate LLC. Every time I buy and own a property to rent, separate LLC. When I'm quick flipping, wholesaling properties, one LLC. The beneficiary is that LLC. Okay, the liability is very small when you're quick flipping because you're not doing construction. There's no tools. There's no that's all eliminated. That's what's great about quick flipping. Okay, and Spellman Homes LLC is just fine. And by the way, check to see if Spellman buyshomes.com is available because that's a great that's a great name, by the way, company and website name. All right. Am I going to get this right? From Miami, is it Tawana? Did I get that right? Hopefully I did. You can chat on the sideline here. Am I even seeing it? Yeah. Okay. Did I get that right? If I got it right, just give me a little yes, you got it, or close enough. All right. My last name's Solera, so you can imagine how many people screw that up. So I hope I got that right. All right. Hi. What's she saying? Yeah. No, she's. Yes, I got it. Cool. All right, so hi, I have everything set up now, even my phone number through Ring Central, and it's ready to go and get started. I also have a lot of sellers, but now have to work on some buyers. Pause right there. That's awesome. All right, the buyers, by the way, is the easy part of this business. It really is, okay? And we're going to talk about that. My question is, do you have information on any encumbrances such as tax liens before I speak to the investor, or does the investor take care of that information? Good question. So it sounds like to me you've got a little block here because you're afraid. You're talking to sellers and you're afraid that if there's any encumbrances, you need to clean that up first before you go to your investor buyers partners. So the answer is no, you don't have to do that. Go right ahead and start building your investor list, okay? And a lot of these, actually almost all of these questions can be answered in the modules. I don't mind doing this because I'm always throwing in a little bit extra in there, but all these questions can be answered in the modules, Masterclass, Flip Finder, all the modules and the tutorials that are out there. But let's talk about the encumbrances, okay? So when signing a purchase and sale contract to buy a property, so you're talking to sellers, you sign a P&S, okay? Part of the terms of that P&S is boilerplate, subject to a clean and marketable title, free of all encumbrances, okay? And what if I'm actually closing on the property, if I end up being the person buying it, just like your investor buys it, when I sign that P&S, I'm protected by that. So when your investor partner buyer signs the contract with you to take over that P&S and take over that realty trust, okay, they now inherit all the terms of the purchase and sale contract, which means they're protected with clean and marketable title and all encumbrances and lien certificates. We get, in Massachusetts, it's called an MLC, a municipal lien certificate, which is basically a clean bill of health that says no liens on the property or not, right? But you're protected with that. So don't worry about that. These are things I like to know. You can ask the sellers, hey, any liens on the property that you know of, any tax liens or anything. And if you find them, they're just another way to negotiate. If there's a tax lien, tax man gets paid first. Just know that, okay? So whatever that price ends up being, they'll get paid. But if there's liens on a property, sometimes I like that. It's a good thing. There's the motivation. Like, we've got problems. We've got issues. So we go after those as well, okay? But no, you don't have to worry about that. All you do is you find the motivated seller. Sounds like you got a couple that you're talking to. Put the P&S right together, sign it up, put it in the contract, get it to your investor buyer. Your investor buyer's responsibility now is to inherit the P&S and the realty trust and get to the closing. They do all the work. That's why it's quick flipping, okay? All right, next, Jason, in a lease option, who pays the insurance and taxes on the house? Seems like the seller needs to escape on this deal from his or her financial situation. All right, Jason, where lease options are cool. I like them. You can make some money doing lease options. Quick flipping is not anything to do with lease options. However, it sounds like, again, you found you came across a seller that might be talking that language to you, or you might be thinking that language. So I'll answer the question, even though we don't do lease options. This is not a lease option course, but I'll answer it real quick. As far as who pays for the insurance and the taxes on a house, that's always negotiable, okay, when you're doing a lease option. If you're engaging in a lease option, okay, the number one thing you want to do is you want to lease it. If you're doing the lease option, you want to lease it at a fair market price minus a couple of bucks. So if the house is going to rent for $1,200, I want to get it to lease it for $1,000, okay, $200 less. And then what I want to do is wrap it around with a lease option with someone else to buy it and charge them $1,400. Now, wait a minute, real quick. Well, why would someone pay $1,400 if the market rent is $1,200? The person who's paying $1,400 and doing a lease with an option to buy is 9 out of 10 times someone that has bad credit and can't buy now. Or else, why would they do a lease option? Does that make sense? 9 out of 10 times. We can talk about this, and I can do a whole course on this, but that's the name of the game. You want to lease it at $1,000 if fair market is $1,200, and you want to get it out at $1,400. So if you have a motivated seller and they just want to do that, okay, then you're making that $400 spread times 12 months. That's $4,800 a year. I'm okay with that. But this isn't a lease option course. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that. But it sounds like you might have someone and they want to do that. So go for it, okay? But I can't I can't get too much into lease options. A whole separate course, and we're talking about quick flip wholesaling on this webinar. How do I obtain a nominee trust? This is Paige, by the way. How do I obtain a nominee trust? How do I purchase a home in a trust? How do I find the appropriate lawyer that knows about wholesaling? Average price to pay a lawyer to accomplish the trust? What method to purchase properties have people found to work best? Paige, all good questions. Let me start off by saying this. The answers are fully explained in detail in the masterclass modules. So I'm going to answer it real quick right now, but I definitely want you to go through the modules. Modules 10 and 11 pretty much answer all of that about the realty trusts and everything, okay? So here's what I do. I'll give you a quick synopsis on it real quick. I'm just going to check on, okay, all right, check on the time. Here's what I do. I put it in, the P&S goes into a realty trust, okay? People can call it a nominee trust, land trust, quick flip trust, wholesale trust. We call ours a quick flip wholesale trust. It's a realty trust, okay? That you can use all over the country, all states, all 50 states, all right? I just want to clear that up right now because I always get, can I do it in my state? Yes, you can. So what we do is if we're buying the 123 Main Street property, we will say buy in between the 12 Main Street Realty Trust and Mrs. Smith, the seller, right? We're going to go over signs. And you can get fully into why we do that in sections 10 and 11. But the reason I put it into a realty trust is because I'm never assigning the contract. All right, we've done that, and we can do that. Again, I mentioned that in modules 10 and 11. But what we're doing is we're basically resigning and assigning our beneficial interest for the trust to the investor buyer. Okay, that's what we do. And the reason why we do that is it allows us to use this method with everybody. Banks, okay, because people say you can't wholesale, you can't do it with banks. We're not, guys, we are not assigning contracts. Banks will tell you foreclosures in the short sales, the letter of approval. This contract cannot be assigned. We're not assigning that contract. We basically have an agreement that the trust will buy the property. And guess who buys the property? The trust. The 123 Main Street Realty Trust actually closes. The deed shows that the trust purchased it. But you're allowed to resign as the beneficiary. You're allowed to change trustees, okay? And for that, for giving up those rights to the P&S and everything, those interests, for that, you get your fee, okay? So I hope that helps. Fully, I go over this 100% in modules 10 and 11. Average fee for an attorney fee, by the way, we're paying around $12.50 for everything. Again, that's all negotiable. I understand that East Coast, expensive. We're a very pricey state, just like West Coast. So depending on where you are, you can definitely negotiate that and work with someone. Real quick, we just did someone ask me what the average price for wholesale? No, that was the cost. But I always get this question. What's the average price you wholesale deals for? Now, I've done 50,000, 10,000, 5,000, 15,000. I just did one, right, that I'm going to record a video of this check. I haven't put it out there yet. $2,000. And is it worth it? Yes, it was worth it. I've got my investors lined up. I've got my sellers lined up. I get the call from the seller. I've got this property. We want to sell. I tried to get 10. Investors weren't interested. All right. I made 3 or 4 phone calls. And then someone said, I'll give you $2,000. 3 or 4 phone calls. Is it worth your time? Once you set up the system and it's on autopilot, you tell me, is a phone call or 3 phone calls worth $2,000 of your time? And in that case, I didn't even run it through an attorney. Not telling you to do that, okay? Because even if you had to pay an attorney $1,250 to make $2,000, guys, I would do it for free to go through the process. I've done it for free to go through the process. So don't ever forget that. Don't look at like, this isn't a good deal, I'm only making $750. Think about it. Right? If you could experience the process firsthand, for those that are doing it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that are close, you're tasting it. And for those that are just about to do it, you're getting excited. Okay? So when you experience that, I would pay to experience it and make no money just to know that I can take the training wheels off and ride that bike, because then no one will ever tell me again that I can't do it. All right? So that's the average price. I will all day cash a $2,000 check, even if I had to pay $1,250 to my attorney. And if I had to do it with an attorney because it was a difficult one, would I negotiate it? Sure. I would say, hey, can we split this? Can you charge me $1,000? I'm going to put $1,000 in my pocket. But in this case, we just had a handshake deal. I know the investor very well. He gave me a check for $2,000. He took over the deal. All right? And I'm totally fine with that. All right. So next question is from Faith. Is an LLC really important to establish now? Can it wait until you get paid on your first deal? Acknowledging that you are not an attorney, I just respect your opinion, Peter. Well, thank you. I'm not an attorney, and I always have to disclose that. I'm just giving you my experiences, my opinions, but I have been consulted with attorneys for 20 years. So thank you for valuing my opinion. So great question. It's one of the most popular questions, and the answer is you do not need to get an LLC right now if you're quick flipping. Okay, if you were buying and holding, I would say yes. That would be my opinion, because I don't want you having that liability. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I'll tell you what the liability is. When you put a house, if the LLC owns the property, and something went wrong with that property, people go after the LLC and its assets, meaning all the assets it has, right? So it's the house itself. If you have 3 or 4 houses under one LLC, they can attach all of them. That's the theory from an attorney's point of view. Okay, when you're quick flipping and basically the beneficial interest is going to an LLC, that's your company name. You've got a company name, you've got your business write-offs, you set up legitimately. Look, my first deals went to Peter Solaris. I didn't have a company, a corporation, an LLC. And I did just fine, okay? I cashed that check under my name, and I made money, and then I went and set up my corporations. So I'm totally fine with that. Yes, would it be better to do it all up front and have the write-offs and have all that advantage? I don't see a huge liability with not having the LLC. For me, it's more of setting up your business and having the opportunity to take the write-offs and so forth. So yeah, I'm totally fine if you wait. And it's really cool and exciting when you're about to cash a check, and then you're spending some money and creating your LLC and putting some money back into your business. All right. So what else? Amy, for someone that's brand new, just starting out, what type of advertising do you feel is the best? And guys, that's one of those questions that I've got 2 or 3 people asking that question. So let's see. One of them said, what's the best for very a little, no money down? You don't mention money, so it's tough for me to answer that if I don't know what your budget is. But I will say this: anything, word of mouth. All right. If you're on a budget, word of mouth. Okay. If you want to put posters in your local store, low budget things. If you want to do some Facebook ads, if you want to do bandit signs, if you want to do direct mail marketing, they're all amazing. What I always like to tell people is you should really go through the Flip Finder. The Flip Finder course that you guys all have access to, all right, a separate course, we threw that in for you because I believe you have to have that. That really outlines where to find the motivated sellers, okay? Remember, they're motivated sellers. They're not people that want to sell their homes. That's 2 different things. So I hope you guys understand that, but I'm definitely going to direct that to the Flip Finder tutorials. It's real important that you go through that and then pick a couple of things in there that are you might say, Peter, I have a budget, I can do direct mail marketing, then go for that. You might say, hey, I have a very limited budget, I want to do something that doesn't require any money. The Flip Finder will show you how to do that as well. All right. Can you give me some advice on hiring good contractors or how to find contractors other than going to RIA meetings? They don't want to work these days or get back to me in my area. Listen, I hear you. All right. The economy is booming. It's unbelievable. So what happens in a booming economy? It's hard to find good help. Everyone is throwing ridiculous numbers out there, and everyone's getting their numbers. And we're all still making money. The rehabbers are making money. The QuickFlip wholesalers are making money. So I will say this. This is a QuickFlip wholesale course. With this course, we don't need contractors to do the work, okay? And that's what the beauty of quick flipping is. Now, a lot of people might say, well, and there's another question that I saw came in. How do I get contractors to at least give me bids so when I'm running the MoFo formula, I know how to answer that? If you're in an environment where it's very difficult to get contractors, the best thing to do, and I love doing this, is I like to build my investor list, and then when I'm talking to my investor buyers partners, but I grab coffee with them. I like to meet them. I like to show up on their job sites, see what they're doing. I want to know who they are. One of the main questions that always comes up is, hey, who do you like these days for a contractor? Oh, I use Johnny, or I use, Ralph. These guys are awesome. They show up on time. They're very well priced. So I like to get that. I also will tell people, when you get your hands on someone good that's going to show up and give you a bid on a property, and then let's say they don't do the deal, okay, buy them a gift card to a coffee shop. You'd be amazed on how a $10 gift card to go get a coffee will go so far. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, Peter, no one's ever sent a thank you card to me. Whatever you need, you call me. We're talking $10, coffee card. All right. If I gave them $10 at the job site and said, thank you for your time, they'd probably throw it at me and say, I'm worth a lot more than $10, Peter. But the gift of a thank you card and the actual gift card goes a long way. All right. But we are quick flipping here. So in quick flipping, the good news is you don't have to deal with a lot of contractors. Okay. You're finding the motivated seller. And if you have to estimate the repairs and you're a newbie, do it. Go through the process. Because I'll tell you who's going to correct you real fast. It's your investor buyers. And what do I mean by that? I've done this, okay? I've looked at a property, online, exterior picture, have no idea what's going on the inside. Talk to the seller. We've come to a price. I said, wow, if I can get this price. I ask him, my questions. Does it need a kitchen? Does it need a bath? So I'm putting out there $100,000. I have no idea if it's $100,000 or $200,000, okay? But I'm making an assumption. And I tell them, according to what you told me, I can give you X amount of money for this property. And then I put it under contract. Once I put it under contract, I then send in my 1, 2, or 3 investor buyer partners, and I say, hey guys, I'm buying it for 100. It needs 100. You can sell it for 3. I want a wholesale fee of $20,000. Go check it out, right? They go check it out. They come back and they say, 100,000, you're out of your mind. This thing needs 150,000 all day. Investor 1. Investor 2 says, 100,000, you're out of your mind. This thing needs $140,000 all day. Investor 3 comes back and says, 100,000, you're out of your mind. This needs 150,000. What do I know without doing anything, without sending any contractors there? I've been educated by 3 professionals like myself, because if I had gone down there, I would have said the same thing. And now I know that if it needs 150,000 plus 100 purchase price plus my $20,000 wholesale fee, there's no money there, right? So what do? You can now go back to the seller and say, listen, all my guys went through there and I was off by $50,000. So we can still do the deal. I have to knock off $50,000. Now they might freak out because from 100 to 50, it is what it is, guys. Sometimes what I do in that situation, say, look, you have to give me a good deal. It's $50,000 more. They might land at 65, 60. I might go back to my guys and say, hey, can you give me 5,000 for it? Take it. See how there's room to play? But I hope that little example really, just eliminated all the contractors right there. So whether that question was related to rehabbing, or sometimes I have to read between the lines, contractors to give you estimates for your MOFO formula, that's how you get around that. All right. Secrets to the industry here, guys. Okay. And that's how a lot of people do this even from out of state. They put things in the contract, they send people in, don't even see it, and they know what the estimates are because the investors are telling them the answer. All right, another question, Angie, what's the best method to locate motivated sellers that want to sell their properties for a great price? I will say this, there's another question down here that's the same thing. Someone, hold off, Angie, because I'm going to answer it again with the other person that has the same question, okay? And we kind of answered it with the Flip Finder, but I've got a little twist on it, and we're going to talk about MLS and Realtors as well, all right? Sam, 2-part question. I'm an experienced investor that has never used a website. I love it. It was real easy to set up. Thank you. I hope you guys love the websites, by the way. These are our websites that you're using. You just change the logo, phone number, pictures, and you're up and running instantly, okay? So Sam loves it, and he's asking, which website do I use when I'm marketing? All right, good question. So you have 3 websites, okay? Your company website. The company website basically is your credibility website. You know what I call the company website? It's the old storefront, okay? When I say old, they're dying, all right? Toys R Us are closing, folks, okay? Online is taking over. So when you have a website now, instantly you have a storefront, instantly, and the credibility is all there. So now you have a company website that has on there because of the alliance, you have on there the testimonials, you have sample portfolio pictures that are ours, okay? But what has happened here? You're part of the alliance. I always use the franchise analogy. Once you buy and you're part of the alliance. Once somebody buys McDonald's, they can say over 55 billion burgers served. You get it? So you can say over 55 billion burgers sold if you buy a McDonald's franchise. If you're with us and you're with the alliance, you can say my team and I have done these properties because you're now part of the team, you're part of the family, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people saying my name and flipping Boston, as long as you say it in the correct way and say, my team and I are part of the alliance, and this is what we do. So the company website gives you the testimonials, it gives you the logos and the brands, okay? A lot of people say, well, Peter, I haven't been on NBC, I haven't been on CNBC, I haven't been on ABC, I haven't been on A&E, but the team has. So our team and I have accomplished these things. So you don't have to get too much into that, but that is where you have to be comfortable saying. And I've had a lot of students that'll say to me, Peter, I haven't been on NBC, and so you get your website up and running, and who sees it? Your friends and family. And they start saying to you, have you been on NBC? Why are you doing that? Guys, they don't get the perspective. They don't get that it takes 10, 20 years to get these accolades. Okay, we have the accolades. You're part of the team. You're doing the homework. I'm okay if you use them. So don't worry about the critiquing from your friends and your family of why you're using those logos. What you should be happy and excited about is that when people come and check you out, go to your storefront, and they see that instant credibility, That is amazing. And that's something that I'm very proud of, and I'm proud to extend that to everybody that's a member, okay, and part of the family. So what website am I using when I'm marketing? When you're marketing to motivated sellers, you're using the motivated seller landing page. The difference between a landing page and a website, it's basically a website. It's a one-page website. And that message is clear and precise. I don't want motivated sellers going to my company page, even though sometimes they'll stumble on it. It's okay, but what I don't want them is to click onto About Me, Motivated Sellers, Investors, and all the other stuff that can kind of give them a little ADD and get unfocused. I want the message to be clear. Hey folks, we buy houses cash, no home inspections, no real estate commissions, fast closing, pay you cash. Here's what we do. Here's our experience, and opt in right here for your offer within 24 hours. Okay, and the language that we have on there, it's optimized to convert, right? The copy, the language that we have on there, people want to see that language. It's the language that we've tested and tweaked over the years that converts for us. What does convert mean? It makes them go and put their name, their phone number, the address. So then we get that email, and now they go into your autopilot system, and the autopilot automation begins. Okay, and while I'm talking about that, please go to the motivated seller landing page. It shows you how to set everything up and all the cool things it does. But remember, once they opt in, once they opt in, they get an email. They confirm that email, and then the automation starts. Okay, but go to the website video tutorials. It's in the Start Here section in your QF autopilot, right in the upper left-hand corner. Look at Start Here. Most of you have done this. If you have not done it, that's really where you want to start in this whole process to set up. We have a quick start action plan in there to set up your business and go through everything. Okay, but if you're marketing to motivated sellers, I want them to be directed to that website, specifically that website. And we talk about domain names, how to set up the websites, all your websites in those tutorials. Okay. First part of the question. Second part, how do I make money? How do I make the money if the deal doesn't close using your contracts? My attorneys like them but want to edit the language. Has never done a wholesale where I can make money even when the deal doesn't close. He loves the contract language, just wants to edit a few things. Is that okay? That's another question I get all the time. Guys, I even say in the, I think it's module 6, all right? Don't quote me on that, but I want you to go to module 6. We talk about how to get an attorney on your team. I say that in that module that almost every time I do a deal, there's going to be a little edit to the contracts, to the trust, to the assignments. There's always a little edit. There's 2 reasons, okay? I always say this. One reason is because it's needed for the reason of the investor, the seller. Something needs to happen in there that they feel comfortable. And the number 2 reason is, which I should say, it's really the number 1 reason, is that the attorney justifies their fee. All right, attorneys tell me that as well. It's nothing new. Attorneys say, listen, we've got to mark it up a little bit, or else how are we justifying the money? Okay, so with that said, yes, you can edit the contracts, and thank you for liking the websites, liking the contract, sorry. And let's get back to how do you make money doing these deals, even if the deal doesn't close. Very simple. You sign a purchase and sale contract, all right? The trust is buying the deal, the property. Then you resign and assign and appoint, whatever you want to call it, through documents, a new beneficiary. So your LLC, or in the case of the person that says, I'm not starting an LLC, it's in my name, that person resigns and assigns someone else. You get paid your wholesale fee for that, right? That wholesale fee will get paid upon the closing. If that closing date comes and that person does not fulfill their obligation of the P&S, then that person loses their $10,000 assignment fee. It's a big boy and girl business, guys. You're out there doing all your hard work, putting all your efforts out there, paying for courses, showing up to webinars, doing all your homework, marketing. You find a motivated seller. You did all your part. You create a win-win situation. You get them to sign a contract. You get 2 or 3 people that want it. You give it to this person, okay? And they drop the ball in the 11th hour. Guess what? If that deal doesn't close, they know when they sign the language, our language in there says that it's non-refundable. They lose their money. And why would someone do this? Well, when I call my people up, my investors and partners up, and I say, listen, I got a property, $200,000. I'm looking for $50,000. and it's $50,000 in repairs, and it can sell for $500,000, and they can make close to $200,000 minus commissions and soft costs, who would not give me that money? You get it? They're fighting at me to give me that deposit. Now, if they are just bluffing me and I pick the wrong person that cannot close the deal and ruins it for everybody else, including the motivated seller that needed help, guess what? I get to keep the money because I have a contract that says it is non-refundable unless there's a couple of contingencies. It's, if it says clean and marketable title, if the P&S says it will be vacant from all tenants, if all the terms are met, guys, it's over. I get to keep that $10,000. By the way, I've never had to do that, all right? But if I want to, and if I wanted to, I could do that, and so can you. And it's the only contract out there that's put together that even if the deal doesn't close and you get screwed by someone, you still get to keep the money and make it's insane. And the seller, by the way, gets to keep the deposit. Okay, the seller of the property, because on a contract, there's always a deposit down. So if that person screwed everything up and it didn't close, the seller keeps the deposit and you keep the assignment fee. Okay? All right, Ed, question. All right, so this is a good question, man, and a serious question. So Ed, we've just experienced Hurricane Florence in our area, and many areas are now experiencing catastrophic flooding, 30 inches plus of rain in some areas. How would you see this impacting quick flips with so many homes being inundated with water and people being forced to find other places to live? I'm concerned with thinking that we're trying to take advantage of them, but at the same time, I think there's opportunity. How do we handle this situation correctly? We're just getting started and have not formed our teams yet. So that flips are made, but next several weeks or months are going to be major recovery in your area, guys. That's I think was that. I know I had a couple of guys here. Oh boy, there's a lot of chat going on here while I'm talking. All right, so I know there's a couple of people from the Carolinas on here. Serious question, guys. All right. I mean, it's devastating what's going on over there. And I will say this. This is what I always see. We've seen Katrina. We've seen Sandy, to name a few. We've seen what's happening in those areas. And humans are resilient. People are resilient. Americans are resilient. That place will be rebuilt. There was a time when you looked at New Orleans and you said, it's never going to be rebuilt again, right? Like, it's that bad. Guess what? We're back. All right. These type of things usually happen once in someone's lifetime. They just happen to be spreading around right now. And when you're seeing them in New Orleans, you're seeing them in, Sandy, and you're seeing it in, Florida, right? Remember last year, Florida, same thing. But people are rebuilding. And the one thing you have to understand is, yes, there's opportunity. But in this business, whether it's a catastrophe like a hurricane or whether it's just someone going through a divorce, right, or someone that has lost their job, these are all situations where people become motivated to sell their property. So I don't care if it's a hurricane or someone losing their job. You can't take advantage of someone. The number one thing that we do when we go meet with someone and someone calls us up, when I see a property, usually we find the most opportunity when there's a catastrophe, a mess. I'm not talking about hurricanes. I'm talking about I walk into a hoarder situation, and I can tell you a recent one. I walked in, guys. I've seen some craziness from doing this in 20 years. I walked in a situation. This person had no running water, no plumbing. They had buckets for their bathroom, cat stuff everywhere, probably 20, 30 cats, cat food, open cans. It was disgusting. Okay. And what happened was this lady fell down, I guess. She hurt herself. She called 911. The ambulance comes in, fire department comes in, and they've never been there. So they walk in and they're like, you can't, they get her out of there. They won't let her back in the house. They put the big X on the house, and the son calls me who lives out of state, and he says, this is my situation. My mom can't go back. She needs to go into some kind of housing facility. I know the place is a mess, and we have to sell it. We have to get rid of it. I need money yesterday because I don't have the money to put in a facility. I'm in limbo. She's in hospital, and now they're saying she has to be released. What do I do? That is what I call motivated seller situation. What I told him is, You can list this property online right now. There's more than one investor I know that'll come in here and give you top dollar for this property. All right, they'll, it's going to take a little process. You're probably going to get, some of these numbers, some of those numbers, and it's going to take maybe 30 days to get out of this thing. By the time you list it out there, find a realtor, and do that, do the whole thing. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks. He said to me, I understand that I can make an extra $50,000 to $100,000 if I wait those days. I just want $165,000, and I could have easily sold it for guys for $250. Okay, I need 165. Can you please help me? Now, if you're out there telling them what their best option is, and you're not taking advantage of them, and you're not saying, guess what, I'll give you 100,000, right? And the guy wants 165 because you've got him up against the fence. That's bad business. And what goes around comes around. And if that's the type of karma that you're interested in, I'm telling you, don't do this business. Okay. But if you're there in a situation, whether it's a hurricane situation or a situation like a weekly basis, and you put the right thing out there, and guess what? Sometimes they take that right thing and it feels good and it comes back ninefold to me. Trust me, it does. It just does. All right. But when you put it out there and they're saying to you, please, I really need you to help me. Can you get it to me for 165? Can you close in a week? Then you're okay. You're okay helping someone, and you're okay because of my expertise in 20 years, knowing how to position myself up. And, I did that property. I think I gave him $170,000. All right. I did it fast. I had a couple of investors look at it. We made probably 50 on it. Okay, he was ecstatic, excited, and we move on. But you don't want to take advantage. You want to create a win-win situation. You're going to find so much of that right now in the Carolinas. Okay, it's not going to be right now because right now you're still in triage mode. Right now, you guys are in bad shape. No one's even thinking right now of replace sheetrock, right, when the water's still up there. Give it time. If you come up with a campaign that we help, and sincerely mean that, and put together that campaign where you've got options, and that's what I would do. I would put together a funnel that gives them options. Hey guys, what's your situation? Is it something that you want to sell and you have time to wait? And we're going to set you up with a broker or a real estate agent. Now, some brokers and agents are on this call. You can do both. You have to disclose what you're doing. Okay, I'm a broker too. I disclose everything. All right, talk to an attorney again on what disclosures, but on every contract I sign, I say, I am a licensed real estate broker in Massachusetts, and I intend to make money on this project if I'm flipping it myself or wholesaling it. Okay, excuse me. So if that's the case, and you're not a broker and you're not a real estate agent, one of the funnels I would do is connect with realtors that will take the listings for them. Now, you cannot take a realtor commission because you're not licensed, if you're not licensed, but you can certainly take a consulting fee, and you can certainly create a relationship here with a realtor that you're feeding them deals for them to list traditionally, and you're just saying, hey, guys, you can get more money, but you're also creating a relationship with a realtor that's going to feed you deals because it's going to go back and forth and back and forth. All you need is 1 or 2 good realtors. Imagine you feed them 10 or 20 leads, because I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And those people that are positioned with their marketing, their websites, their autopilot systems in there, their team in place, like you, those people that are positioned right now to do that, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, January, whenever that time comes, you'll know when it's right. You guys will not only help a lot of people and put people in a better situation, you're also going to create a win-win situation for yourself, and you can definitely make money while you're helping people, and I'm okay with it. All right, but that is a tough one, and that's an amazing question. I'm glad you had the guts to ask that question. All right, how are we doing on time? Whew, I'm flying here. I'm going to take a quick sip of water because I've got a lot more questions. All right, let's see. Charles says, hi, I'm totally new to this. I know I have lots to learn. How do I put a property under contract? Where do I get the actual contract? And Charles, the answer real quick is, first of all, welcome. I always say welcome to the best industry in the world at the best time in the world. Why? Because the market's on fire right now. And then people say to me, what if the market crashes? Even better. I don't care. I've made money in businesses going up, going down. Moves and the plays in every situation, and you're the team. You're part of the family, and as we make the moves, you're going to find out what moves we're making, and we're going to pass that information to you. But the quick answer to your question, Charles, is all this information is in the masterclass. Module 11 goes over the P&S, and it's real simple. So if you want to put a property under contract, I think I answered it earlier. You're using a purchase and sale contract or an offer to purchase, depending on where you are. Most people are using a purchase and sale contract. I do advise to have an attorney to work with you. I talk about getting an attorney on your team because people ask me that all the time. How do I get an attorney on my team that speaks, eats, and breathes this stuff? It's fully explained in Module 11. But I will do it again, all right? Because I know some of you just want the answer. You're like me. Just give it to me. Just give me the answer. Look, folks, the answer, and I say it all the time, if I want to know a good real estate investing attorney that does wholesales, I will first talk to the investors, buyers that I connect with and ask them to refer me to someone, okay? I will also ask the RIA group director to refer me to an attorney. They love doing it. Why? Because they're doing business with them, and the more they refer to them, the more leverage they have to say, come on, give me a good deal on the next one. Don't charge me $1,250 or $750 or whatever it is in your market. I'm saying for me it was that. It might be way less in your market. So RIA directors love saying, call Charlie up and tell him I sent you, all right? More than anybody, they love saying that. If you don't know where your RIA group is, it's also in the modules, okay? So go to the masterclass, and I believe it's in the Flip Finder on the documents, and it has a RIA directory for the entire nation. We update that once a year, so you can easily go in there, look in your area, and there's always new ones opening up, okay? So type in RIA and your city, your town, and you will find a RIA group in your area. But that's the easiest way to find an attorney to put in your team, someone that speaks this language, all right? And they're going to have their own documents. You can show them our documents. I'm going to be uploading a nice module probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks, going through the trust documents. That way, I've done this before with others where I'm explaining it to their attorneys and they go, oh, I like this, right? So they're starting to use, attorneys that do wholesales are starting to use my documents because we've got, so many value adds in our documents that they love using. All right. So Charles, welcome. And definitely, I got it in my notes here. It's module 11 for the attorney. And then I want you to go for the attorney. Module 11 in the masterclass goes over the P&S, and module 6 in the video 2 goes over the attorney information. Hang on a sec. I'm locking myself out here. I'm back. Got excited there. All right. So did I get that right? Module 11 goes over the P&S, and module 6, video 2, goes over how to get an attorney on your team. Charles's next question: is there any additional training I can get? Guys, I give everyone everything. I really do. And I know so many of you have not gone through the modules. If you go through all the modules, you will be amazed of how much information. I've given you everything, okay? And I know you guys appreciate it. I've got the contracts, the websites, the knowledge. For the best price out there, I know what we've achieved and what we've done here. And that's why we're very popular right now with what we're doing. And the buzz is so huge because people are saying to me, why are you doing this with all this information for that price point? And my attitude is, people want it all. I've been on the other side. I want it all. If I want to learn how to quick flip and wholesale, give it all to me. All right. So you have all the information, but I know that if you're like me, you want the mentoring, you want the coaching. There is a waiting list. People email us every day. There's a waiting list right now if you want mentoring or coaching. I don't just have anybody out there coaching. They're people that are on my team. They've been trained by me. They're certified by me. They speak my language. They have to do real estate. That's it. There's so many people out there that are saying, oh, they're going to just give you mentoring or coaching, and these people have no idea. They've never even seen a real estate deal. And that's not cool. And I'm not even going to name names out there, but they're out there. And a lot of you that are here, I know you've told me, we used to be with this, we've seen that, and the Quick Flip program is nothing like anybody else's. So thank you, okay? But there is a waiting list for that. If you're interested, support at quickflipsystem.com. Email us, call us, you have the information. Live events. People are asking us for live events. We are planning on putting together some live events, and we're gonna do live events for everything, guys. We're gonna show you marketing all the way through. We're gonna show you how to use the websites. We're gonna show you how to negotiate. We're gonna do it all, but just be patient with us. If you're interested, you know, the more fire I guess I get from you guys, the more I'll kind of put it on the front burner. So just email me and say, I'm interested in, you know, live events. I'm interested in some boot camps, or I'm interested in the coaching, Peter. And we'll get that going. But I'm okay if you kind of push me a little bit. I'm totally fine with that, all right? The more I get pushed, the more I'll produce products. All right, John, we do a lot of driving for dollars, so we do a lot of mailings. Is there a database in the program we can use, or is there one you can recommend? We're Mac people. All right, Apple people. Okay. Here's what I'll say. Another one of those things, like, you know, we're discussing about putting a program, a direct mail marketing program together. What we do have right now, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, John, but we have an amazing direct mail calculator software system that I believe is in the Flip Finder and in the Masterclass. But if you look at one of those tutorials on the left side, I want you to download the direct mail calculator software. It's amazing. If you haven't used it, it'll blow your mind away. Not because I created it, but I'm telling you, it's coming from my perspective. I know how much money I'm spending, how much mailing I can do, what the probability of the return is, what my open rate is, how much money I can make, if I'm wholesaling, if I'm flipping, if I'm buying and holding. It's really cool. Okay, so download that, start there if you haven't already done that. And you know, it's one of those things that are on our board. So if you guys see something like that and you want something, again, hit us up with the email, the support, and just let us know what you're interested in, guys. And we're always working on new things, okay? And what we're using in our business, we're always passing out to you too. You've probably already noticed, by the way, the QF Autopilot has changed a little bit over the last 2 weeks. So we're making things a lot easier. We're trying to automate as much as we can, and it's really an amazing product. I love the Autopilot, the automation, the websites, the fact that you're just putting in your information once and you're done for life. It's really amazing. All right, Leo and Lisa, West Coast. Okay, this West Coast market, it seems like the mofo in this market has not been working as well when placing offer with agents. Did you say real estate agents? All right, this is the one I was waiting for. With agents, they won't even place the offer, right? Is that what you mean? The deals are limited to 5 and 8% for flip and fixes, and many are just overpaying to get the deal, so they have work, not any thoughts. All right, so I get it. I know you guys are typing fast, and sometimes there's some typos in there. I know how to read. There's just some typos in there, okay? But here's what I have to say. It says in here, when placing an offer with the agents. So if you're working with real estate agents and going on MLS, it's not going to work, guys, okay? The definition of motivated sellers, although they're on MLS, there is no opportunity for you to do what we're doing if you're putting offers out that are on MLS, okay? I talk about that fishing pond. I talk about it in the Flip Finder. You know, here's MLS. This is my best analogy. You want to go fishing to feed your family, and you go to the MLS fishing pond, and you're putting your fishing rod in there, you and 5,000 other investors, and there's 7 fish in there. What are the chances that you're going to feed your family tonight? Slim to none, okay? You want to find properties that are off market. That's where you want to focus. I'd rather you start fishing with you and 30 other investors in a pond that has 17 fish in it, okay? The odds are much better. I'd like it if you fish in a pond where it's just you that nobody else knows about, right? So if you're working with agents and you're putting in offers, you know, that's problem number one. Because I'll tell you right now, as much as I'm always looking on MLS, and I do get properties under contract in MLS, I can't put in there my 14 days and my due diligence and all the craziness. I can't put that stuff in there. All right, hang on a sec. I'm getting live. Yep, that's okay. Thank you. Rob just walked in, and I'm not looking at the chat apparently, so he's just walking in and giving me the chat live. Okay, so anyway, let me finish that. So basically, what you want to focus on is off-market leads from motivated sellers, because it's a beautiful thing when you're dealing with someone. It's only you and them, and it's not, well, I'm talked to, you know, I've got 17 offers in front of me, As soon as you hear that, and that's what's going on out there, folks, you know that. West Coast, East Coast, it's going on, right? It's over. I want to talk about realtors for a quick second. It doesn't mean I don't work with realtors. I love realtors. And here's where I love the relationship with realtors. I like to make relationships with realtors, and I say to them, hey, folks, I'm looking for off-market leads before you put it on MLS. You make twice the money. You give me the front end, and when I list it, you get the back end of it too. But just get them to me before they hit the market. This is what I like. Here's my sweet spot. They don't need to know I'm quick flipping it. They don't need to know I have an investor list that I've built up. They bring me a property. They want $200,000 for it. And after you put $50,000 into it, you can sell it for $350,000. I can attach a $10,000 fee on there. And I tell the realtors, myself and my partners love these deals. Myself and my partners love these deals. So when the partner comes in and the partner shows up at the closing, yeah, it's my partner, right? It's all good. I don't tell them exactly how I do it and the trust and all that stuff. That's your secret sauce. You guys have paid. You guys have put in the time for that. Does that make sense? So the MoFo formula, you know, that formula, by the way, if you haven't used it, great opportunity. Go in there. We shoot for 20. By the way, you know, I can't shoot for 5 or 8 because if the deal goes sideways, no investor wants to do that deal. But I'm okay with 15. I'm okay with 10 in tight markets. And the investor, see, you're never at risk. Have I mentioned that, by the way, since the beginning of this? You are never at risk doing quick flips. The only risk you have is putting in some time. You put in some time, you sign a contract, the contract has outs. The contract has contingencies. The contract gives you a built-in time that we go through in the modules that shows you how to get out. So you sign a contract that says, I'll buy it for this much money. If your investor partners don't like it and no one's buying, hey, folks, if 3 people say it's a bad deal, guess what? It's probably a bad deal. So what's your risk? Nothing other than the time you spent. I'll never put you at risk if you follow the program, guys. Okay, and the program is all in the master class. It's all there. All right, so Leo, Lisa, I feel you. I'm just telling you, when I saw the word agents, it's tough. All right, now what did Rob? Rob said, Val, how do you hide the wholesale rates from the seller and buyer? It's in the modules. No, I'm just kidding, Val. All right. That is a killer question, and it is. I smile because I don't know if I invented this or it's part of what I've morphed into with my attorneys and counsel over the years. That's why we do the trust. So here's what happens. So Val is asking real quick, and it's a great question. That's why I'm taking a live question because I got tons more. How does the seller and buyer, how do they not know what you made for a fee? Okay. So what happens is this. I go to Mrs. Smith, the seller. I will buy your property for $100,000. Let's sign a P&S. Who's on that P&S? You guys can write this in the chat room, by the way. Who signs the P&S? Is it you personally? Val, I'm gonna direct that to you. I know there's a little delay, so I'm gonna wait a little bit here. All right. Yes, Greg says the trust name. Thank you, Greg. All right. Brenda says yes. All right, good. So it's the trust, and it's the LLC. Okay, it's the realty trust. The realty trust is on the P&S. That's who the contract is with. So now what happens is I say to Mrs. Smith, hey, your address happens to be 17 Broadway in this town. Okay, so the 17 Broadway Realty Trust and Mrs. Smith will engage in this contract. Who closes on the deal? The Broadway Realty Trust closes on the deal. Who's the beneficiary of this transaction? It's the investor partner who came in and gave me a fee for that. Is that fee ever recorded or shown anywhere in the public? No. And that's why nobody knows this. Okay, you've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing illegal. You just said to yourself, hey, listen, I decided not to flip this, but I'm sitting on something good here. How good is it? Well, the investors won't lie to you. They'll tell you it's 10,000 good or 50,000 good. And if it's 50,000 worth of goodness, they're going to give you $50,000, right? And if it's that good because they can make money, they're going to be begging you to give you $50,000. It's interesting when I get investors. I've got one investor the other day that said to me, I'm not showing up anymore to see your properties. I said, why not? Why are you getting all upset with me? He goes, because I've showed up 3 times in a row and I've offered you, whatever it was, $25,000, and you've never given me a property. And I find out, because it's a small world, that you gave it to, Jake, for $25,000. What's wrong with my money? It's not good enough. And I didn't even realize this because that part of the process is being held by someone else in the company. So I felt bad. And he's right. He's like, I show up every time. I give you the same money, and I don't do a lot of put them into a battle where they start bidding up. It goes there sometimes, but I'd rather be the guy that just says 25 grand is a lot of money for me. I'm happy with it. I'm not looking for 27, So I said to him, I'm sorry. You're going to be next. I'm showing you the next property first with nobody else. If you give me the money, it's just yours. You see what I'm saying? They're begging me to get that. So it's fine. It says it, but it's recorded on the HUD, correct? No, it's not recorded on the HUD. It's not an assignment fee. There's nothing on the HUD that's recorded. This is a separate transaction outside of the HUD, okay? And you don't sign as the assigner, okay? What happens is, I see that from Val. What happens is it says that the realty trust will buy, and whoever the trustee is has the right to go to that closing and do the closing, all right? So it's not you. It's whoever the trustee is. And I vet him up front. As soon as I put something on the contract, I say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I love this property. There's a lot of plumbing issues here as we went through this. We're talking $50,000 in plumbing issues, right? So what happens is I have a lot of partners, obviously. I scale this thing up. I buy a lot of property. So I've partnered up with plumbers, with contractors, with framers, with roofers. I've got the perfect partner I'm going to do this deal with. It's John. And John and possibly Rick, because he's also one of those hands-on GCs that I love doing deals with him. We've done some deals together. So John and Rick, whoever it is, I'm bringing them here. We're going to go through this property, and we're just going to do our scope of list, and we're going to get everything together. All right? So Mrs. Smith says, fine. I don't bring them together. All right? So I'll bring John separately and Rick separately. I don't like that. I don't like when people have done it to me, even though sometimes you're going to have no choice, because the Mrs. Smith will say, what is this? You said no home inspections, and you're going to get that. I'll let you take a peek, 1 hour, that's it. So then I'm bringing them all in. You got one shot at it. And it sucks, but it happens, all right? So now what happens is I show up with John. He's the plumber. He walks through and he says, there's a lot of plumbing here, but I can get this done at cost. So I love this, Peter. Give me this deal, man. Come on, I want to flip this thing. Give this to me. I'm like, all right, how much will you give me for it? I want 20. I'll give you 20 all day. Great. Then Rick comes in. Rick says, I love this deal. I'll give you the 20 all day. Now I've got two options. That's the good problem I have. But now what has happened? Mrs. Smith knows John and she knows Rick. So the 1, 2, 3, what do I call it? Broadway Realty Trust is buying it. And I go, Mrs. Smith, guess what? You know what? John loved it. We're doing the deal. So whether it's me or John, we're going to be communicating with your attorney, closing dates and so forth. We did say fast closing. 2 weeks is fine. So we're definitely going to do that. We're good. So actually, I'm going to have John call you to coordinate the closing. See how I just passed that right off? So now John says, hey, Mrs. Smith, it's John. Hey, thanks again for letting me in. I've got to line things up. I got to get a dumpster there. I got to get materials there. He may want to go back in again. And if he can with Mrs. Smith, I'm fine with it. All right. And then what happens when John shows up to the closing, it's fine because John still closes because he's now got the resignation from me and he's been assigned the beneficiary and the trustee, or his attorney's the trustee. I know I'm saying a lot in one shot here, guys, but it's really all here. So now John closes, signs on the deal. By this time, I've already got my money out of escrow and I've made my money. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you recommend a liquidated damages clause by added to the P&S deal proposal? No, I don't. Liquidated damages, well, you could. Look, that's something you can go with your, I shouldn't say no. You can work with that with your attorney. And thanks, Marlon, for getting the aha moment, because that's what this is, man. Like, think about that. There's nothing being recorded here, okay? There's not, and in some states, by the way, in some states, the beneficiaries are not recorded. So nobody even knows this happened. In some states, the beneficiary has to be recorded. So what? What if Mrs. Smith sees, John is now the beneficiary, or John's LLC is the beneficiary? Who cares? Nowhere does it have to be recorded of what that fee was. That's a private contract between me and John, okay? Yes, Greg, I do walk through setting up the real estate trust in the modules. Everything's in the modules, guys, okay? Everything's in there. All right, what time is it? I've gone over, but hang on a sec. Let me see. I'm doing thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Val. Listen, I just want you guys to use this stuff, man. I get so excited with this stuff. I hope I get an opportunity to meet you guys live in person. We are trying to put some boot camps and some live events together. And as you can tell, I can't shut up talking about this stuff, okay? I just can't. I just love it. All right, so let me see. Mark Mark, how many questions are you lighting me up with here? Mark's giving me 10 questions. What's the best way to create a buyers list, and how should I go by doing so? Where should I start as far as looking for finding properties? How do I learn how to estimate the repair cost? Should I know the MoFo? I wouldn't know the MoFo formula. Can you guys help me with the script? What marketing suggestions would you give me for beginners? I think I've answered all the questions, Mark. Hang on, let me keep on going here. What suggestions do you have to help come up with a domain and company name? Write this down, business setup modules. Okay, go there for that one. Is there a number that I can communicate with you guys? Look, guys, that's the biggest question we have all the time. Is there a number we can call? We want to be that company that's on the other end, okay? Because I know I've been there. I buy a product and then it's crickets on the other side. So as you guys can tell, we're responsive. We have a technical department we've got it up and running 24 hours a day now. And we're proud of that, 24 hours a day, because there's different parts of the country that people are chiming in from. So technically, for technical questions, yes. For websites, technical stuff, you can do that 24 hours a day. However, as many of you can see, for the price point that you're paying, there's no way I can take one-on-one calls for this, right? That's why we're trying to build other departments. If there's something that you're hung up on and you're stuck on, send us an email, okay? But I'm telling you right now, most of this stuff is in the modules. But I don't want to leave, no student left behind, okay? So we're going to do the best we can, but this is not that mentor coaching program. Please respect that. It's impossible for me at that price point to hire enough staff to just answer people 24 hours a day. But I am doing it on the tech side, and we are building better systems. So I want you guys to please go to the modules. Everything is there, all right? I see the chat thing kind of going up again. Thank you, Zoe. The modules answer it all. Thank you very much, okay? Quick script for calling the sellers. The scripts are on there too. So let me finish this. I got 10 questions from Mark here. What real estate investing books are a must for a read? My book, QuickFlip, okay? Just focus on the modules, all right? As a teacher, what homework? Wait a minute. You're a teacher, Mark? Are you kidding me? You haven't done one homework? What homework would you give me to guide me? What, as a teacher, what homework would you give me to guide me in the direction I should do to close my first deal? Can anyone out there tell them what happens at the end of every module? All right? Any module, every module at the end is a homework assignment. So you're in detention, Mark, all right? As a teacher, you're asking me 10 questions. You bought the book and didn't even open it up, did you? All right? That's okay, because I'm the same way, Mark. I'm exactly the same way. I'm the type that'll download something, and then I got 31 questions. I don't want to go through the modules. The reality is this. Everyone, folks, there's no cutting the line, okay? I love opportunities like this because we go right to it. We can bang out some questions. I love the chat thing, although I'm trying to look at one screen and trying to look at the screen on the other side. But, you have to, in life, guys, you got to wait in line, right? In the cafeteria, you got to get your milk, you got to get your food and, get your water, get your macaroni and cheese, go to the front and pay. Yeah, there are some quick starts, and we've got those built in there, but everything involves getting involved. You got to take action. You got to go in there. So, Mark, all your questions, I think I've answered probably 70% of them earlier. If you're just jumping in, you're going to have this email to you, which is great because you got all the answers and all the homework assignments at the end of every module, okay? All right, so losing my voice here. Another Mark. I don't know if this is the same Mark, but I'll answer it just in case it is, because I like you, Mark, all right? I keep on being told that you need a license to be a wholesale real estate person. Just wondering if it's true or false. False. All right, I'm not even going to get into that. You do not need a license to wholesale. Greg just signed up for the course, literally just signed up. I think I'd like to focus on wholesaling. Great, because you're in the right location here. You're in the right spot. This course is all about wholesaling. QuickFlip wholesaling is all we're talking about here, okay? Which I think is a great tool in this market. And we talked about why. By the way, it's a great tool in any market. If you don't want to get involved with the rehab and the contractors and the craziness, I do cherry pick one of those once in a while. I love it. It's all good. But man, I'll tell you something. I flip houses and make $50,000 and go through 3 months of doing that, and I've wholesale properties and made $50,000. And I like making $50,000. You decide how you want to make yours, okay? But quick flipping is amazing. All right, so he's saying, where should I start? And are there parts I could put off watching for now? You know what? I don't like to say there's parts you can put off watching. I would say, go to the modules. Go to there's two things I'm going to say. Go to the master class And if you're really a newbie and you want to understand the process of wholesaling, because I know I've said a lot of things on here today that have kind of given you those aha moments, watch the modules. It's a story from beginning to end, right? Like, hey, whether you're new or experienced, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's what a wholesale is. Here's how we do it. Here's why we do it. Here's the documents we use doing it. Here's how we get to the finish line. Here's how we get paid. I think that's a great process. With that said, we have a quick start action plan that we've started. Go up to the start here section that's in the left-hand corner of the QF Autopilot, and that literally walks you step by step on what to do first. And it tells you, hey, go here first, do this, go here second, do this, do that. And we're always updating that, by the way. We're always improving it. So what you see this week might look different next month because we're always trying to make it easier and give you more tools, all right? So I hope that helps. All right, I know I've gone overboard. I think that's going to wrap it up. I pretty much think I've answered all the questions. I know people have been throwing some new questions in. What steps should I take? You know what? I think I've answered most of these questions. All right. So I know I've gone a little bit overboard. I hope that helps you guys. We're going to send these. We're going to send this webinar to you via a link. You can play it back. Definitely go through the notes, but go through the modules. Okay. Go through the modules, please. And thank you for the chat. Sorry for not engaging so much, but I'm trying to answer the questions and take the time to finish the modules, like Michael said. All right. I'm going to end off with Michael's word. Please take the time to finish the modules. Thank you, guys. And we'll talk soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.